All right, Ben. What's up?
More JavaScript, mostly. We're really excited because we've achieved through these videos more fame than we've ever had. And that's like, we passed 1,000 total views this week.
We are so popular.
And we're getting comments. Please comment on the videos. It makes us feel nice.
And we're not going to mess with our pin caps because I about drove myself nuts last time.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about the... We're trying. One small request from us. We did, since we're becoming popular...
Oh my wordy.
Okay, so we're not actually becoming popular. But we had somebody give us a thumbs down, and it really drives us crazy to not have any idea why. So if you feel tempted to dislike anything we say or do, please leave a comment and tell us why. I don't care if you don't like me, I just really want to know why.
Even if it's just because we're ugly or annoying. That's a good enough reason, and no reason is horrible.
One of the comments on the first video was, maybe Jared should stop interrupting Ben so much. Which I thought was funny, because I didn't even notice. Okay, so today, this video is going to be our last part of the introduction to JavaScript. And we're going to cover flow control and looping structures. And we're going to try and do, we're going to try and do that pretty quickly because we want to try and get out 2 videos and we're really excited about the second one.
So you just do the force, use the force, and I'll throw you a pin. That means that you're ready for it. There you go.
All right, so we'll start off with flow control. And this is going to be really straightforward. So I think they call this branching. You'll be making your program and you're going down doing all of these steps and steps and steps, and you're going to hit a point where your program needs to either turn left or turn right. You need to make a decision based on something. Yeah. So your program branches this way or that way. And a real actual program has tons and tons of these branches, and it's even possible to have a branch with more than one, and then these keep going. This is pretty necessary part of programming, and we're going to show you how to do it.
So first real quick, you drew a line. This was actually really good. And you said your program goes down like this and you're doing a bunch of things, right?
Right.
We're going to call these statements.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because those things are important to understand that that's what they are. It's a statement. It's a line of something to do, right?
As you're going, the computer's executing a statement, and then a statement, and then a statement. Just go statement to statement.
Right. Okay.
Right. And then you're going to end up with a point where you want to do these statements or you want to do these statements based on some condition in the program. So the way we do that is with the if statement. And this if statement has been around since programming has been around pretty much. But how it works is if, and then in JavaScript we use parentheses, condition, then statement. So your program is going to come here and it'll hit this if. It's going to go look at this condition. If this condition evaluates, this is an expression. Remember, expressions are, it's code that evaluates to a value.
Yeah, it reduces.
So if this evaluates to something like true, then this gets executed. If not, we skip this. There's a variation on this called the if else. So in this case, if the condition evaluates to true, we do this. Otherwise, we'll do this. And then you can even stack these on top of each other.
So you can stick them inside is what you're saying. Because a statement, this could be taken as a statement inside of there, is what you're saying. Because you can stick them inside.
So yeah, you can nest these ifs and else's inside of each other.
Should
I recommend not doing so as much as possible. Okay, so most of the time you're going to want to put more than one statement in here. So JavaScript provides you a neat little way to group statements. Just like you can group operators and values with parentheses, So this all becomes one expression. You can also group statements, and you do that using the curly braces.
So it's just like a bundle, right? You're just saying this is kind of a bundle of
Yeah,
statements.
1 plus 2, or 3 plus 4, alright? So, whoa, weird. Okay, so we've bundled these statements up into one statement. So if this evaluates to true, then it'll do all those things. As a matter of convention and just good practice, we recommend that you always use these curly braces. As you're reading people's code, you'll see once in a while that they leave these out. So you'll see something like this. This is legal, but it's dangerous because if you come down and add something else to here, var b equals 11, even if it's tabbed over like this and it looks like it's supposed to be inside this if block, it isn't, because JavaScript's just going to take this first statement and then this is going to get executed regardless.
So no matter if that's truthy or falsy, this will always be
yeah.
it.
So we recommend you just always do the curly braces. That makes it obvious not only to the computer but to you what you expect.
So what is the expression of the condition, the condition expression look like? So should we maybe do a...
Yeah, let's talk about that. Jared just said this word truthy. And this is a little bit unique to JavaScript. Most other languages don't do this. Alright, so let's go to the Boolean. We talked about the Boolean objects. True.
And false.
And false.
Gosh, I don't even know all the falsy and... nan is falsy.
So there's undefined.
Let's actually list them. So here's the true and false, but they also have some other weird things. Let's categorize them.
If your expression ends up evaluating to one of these things, let's use a different color.
There you go.
Then it's going to be regarded as false. In JavaScript we call it falsy. The statically typed languages usually don't have this problem. So if your expression evaluates to 0 or false or the
null.
empty string,
right? Make sure it's right next to each other. It's not with a space. Yeah.
That's an empty string. Or null or undefined.
Or nan. Is there another
Or nan, which we haven't talked about, so you can forget about for a while. It means not a number. This is what JavaScript gives you when you...
when you try to do a mathematical, like you try to plus something that can't be plussed.
Like I think if you do a times...
divide. It's actually it's division and times.
Yeah, a times 4 will give you a nan. So any of these things are regarded as false. Everything else is true. So if you have a string, false, that's actually true in a conditional.
Correct.
So you got to watch out for that. So you want to use true and false, the Boolean values, as much as possible.
So what that means is if we were to write this, so if we were to say if nan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it becomes kind of confusing to me a little bit. Because you're saying if nan, which is always false, so this will never be run.
Right.
Or any of those others. But
right.
If you did this,
if not nan,
then it will run.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I don't want to interrupt you anymore.
Let's talk about the comparison operators.
Let's do that. So there's
we talked about plus and minus and like the math operators that you know about. There are also operators that compare two things. They're called comparison operators.
Really useful.
They are double equals, triple equals, not equals. When you do the exclamation point like this, sometimes they call it a bang. So bang equals is not equals, not double equals. The difference between the double equals and the triple equals and the not equal and the not double equal is subtle. But there is
It's
actually
screwy.
a difference.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. I don't even know if I know all the gotchas. I find them every day.
So we got these, and then there is the greater than, less than, and actually, I guess we could.
And then greater to and equal. All right, greater than.
Oh yeah, greater than, equal to. Boy, there's a lot of these.
There are. Keep going.
Greater than, equal to, and then less than and equal to. I think that's it, right?
Yep, and then you just have the negate, which.
And then then not. Bang, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So to use these, you'd have two variables, two values, and you would say 0 equals.
Is equal to.
Let's do this. Var a equals 0. 0 equals a. So this is an expression. You could put this on a line, and it would evaluate. And then this will evaluate to
True.
true, because a is 0, 0 equals a.
So we haven't saved it to another value, but this actually gets
Yeah.
condensed and then sent back.
Yeah, you could put this in something var t equals that, but you can also just put it inside your conditional
There you go.
on your if.
And now we will run.
So that will be executed. Boy, my handwriting's terrible today. Okay, so let's change this to 4.
Now it skips it.
Now it's going to get skipped.
But let's do this. Now that will be executed.
Yeah, let's call this. We'll just make it a comment.
True.
Yes. Oh.
Yet.
Yes, with an S. No. Okay. What else should we plug in here? Let's do greater than. This is kind of obvious, and I guess we could just kind of.
So all these, I mean, if you've been through math, these are all pretty simple. So
is 4 greater than A? 4 is 4. A is 3. It is. So we end up there.
should we talk about a little bit about the else if now? Because I think people understand the operators, and they can go and take a look at MDN and find out all the different ones. But
yeah, you guys are all falling asleep. Here's a bit of homework. Go to MDN, that's the Mozilla Developer Network,
yes.
and figure out the difference between double equals and triple equals, and not equals and not double equals.
And maybe the gotchas, because this is something that almost every new programmer, because they come from another language, they're used to this, and it's there, and they think that that's all they need to know, and it bites them.
Yeah. One more quick note. Sometimes JavaScript will let you get away with stuff that you wish it wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things it'll let you get away with is actually not that.
As A equals.
If you did A equals 4, it looks good as you're glancing over the code, but this is the assignment operator, not a comparison operator.
And remember that this is valid because this is an expression.
Yeah, it's an expression that will return.
Reduce to 4.
Which is
Truthy.
Truthy, yeah.
And therefore always run this block.
So always remember the double equals.
And not only that, never use the double equals.
Always use the triple.
Always use the triple, just because you're expecting it to be the triple. And this is the bang double, is I think what they call it.
Yeah.
Always use that one as well. Just kind of avoid these two. The only times that I've ever used these two, I went back and changed it because I thought I was being smart, but yet I was just being lazy.
Yeah.
And
there's some different opinions on that sort of thing. I don't think it's that dangerous. Douglas Crawford says never, never, never.
I'm on Douglas' side this time.
Brendan Ike, who wrote the language, says, eh.
Yeah, well, that's
All right.
how I feel about that.
Okay. You want an if else?
Yes, let's do an if else.
Let's simplify this. And okay.
Else if is what we want, not if else. So else if this.
There's actually a space in there. I
Yeah.
can never remember language to language.
Where you're at?
Else if or else if. So
Let's
you
just
can
say A is greater than or less than 10.
okay.
And then let's do an else on the end of that.
I hope you can see down there.
But one thing that confused me is how it gets to this point. So let's talk about that. It's going to do the first check first, right? If it doesn't meet this criteria, it skips to the next one. If it doesn't meet that criteria, it doesn't matter, it just ends up here. So
Yeah.
that's, I kind of got confused because I almost thought that you could, well, technically you could. No, because what this does is, if this hits true, it skips the rest of the conditions.
So you're guaranteed that you're only going to execute one of
those
these
blocks.
And you can have as many else ifs as you want. There's another structure that is meant to simplify long lines of else ifs, but it gives Jared nightmares, so we're going to talk about it.
We're talking about case statements?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like a cuss word in my...
You can look up the switch if you want, but don't talk to Jared about it. He'll eat you. Okay, so we've got an understanding of conditionals and kind of this block idea. We can blow through these other structures.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the next one. Let's do a while.
Hey, this is Benjamin. After we recorded the video last night, we realized that we left out something very important after talking about the Boolean operators, the comparison operators. We left out, not those, we left out or and, which are very important. So I'm just going to show those to you real quick, and I'll just glue this into the middle of the video. Say you had A equals 4. This, of course, will return 2. By the way, I found this website called node-console.com. Node is a JavaScript environment, and this website gives you a console for Node, so you can come in here and bang out Node code or JavaScript code here and see results of it right away. So you can see that A equals 4, and I got a yes. Console.log is a JavaScript tool that just says print this onto the console. Your browser has a console too, by the way. Alright, so you had A equals 4, B equals 56 will do. If you need to compare two things, then you can use OR, which is a double bar. Ah, goodness. B equals 3. So what this is going to do is you can evaluate both of these, the first one and the last one, and if either one is true, if this or this is true, then we'll get a yes. So you see we got another yes there. There's also AND, which is a double ampersand. Now if this will return true only if both of these are true. So we'll run it, and we didn't get an else. I mean, we didn't get a yes. Do an else here. Console log. No. Clear and run. Oh. I misspelled console. Clear, run. Okay, there we got a no. Interesting thing to know about these, the AND and OR operators, is that you can use them for defaulting values in a function. Say you have a function and you want to set A to be a default value, but it's possible, well, let's just do A. It's possible that somebody will call the function without passing in a. You want to make sure that a is something. You can say a equals a, or you can give it a value. So if you call it without, you'll get the default, and if you call it with, you'll get what you passed in. What's going on here is pretty simple. We're in the function, so we have a in our scope, and we want to assign a. We're going to make an assignment to a with this or this. If this a is undefined, JavaScript is going to use this one. This is called short circuit comparison, where JavaScript is only going to go as far as it needs to. A, if this is set, if it's not undefined, then the A will get that one. It's not going to go any further. If it is undefined, then you're going to get this. And so we should get two things spit out here. Oh, we would if I'd remembered that. Now the first time it ran, I got the default value, and then the second time I got that. And the AND operator works the same way, short circuit. So, and that can come in handy. It's a little less useful. Yes. And true. So in this case, if A is true, then it'll move on to the next one. If A is false, because this is an AND, the whole expression can't possibly evaluate to true if either value is false. So if the A is false, then it's going to skip evaluating the true and just hand back false. And there's false. If we do true, then we're going to get a true. Alright, so that's the gist of all of the Boolean operators, including and or. Sorry about leaving out of the video. We'll try and remember more next time. Back to the video.
Okay, so that's if and else. They're all about branching, flow control. These next ones we're going to talk about are looping structures.
Ew, so let's do this. Let's say the ifs, let's draw a diagram we'll keep up here, are about forking, right? Or branching, like you said. And what are while loops about? I would call it repeats, right?
Yep.
Loops.
There's something in your program that you need to do over and over again. Like it's especially useful with arrays, where you got a bunch of stuff and you need to do the same thing with everything in this group of stuff. Though the first one is the while loop, and just while and a condition.
This is lowercase.
Picky.
I can try it and not have it weird.
So we'll get here. JavaScript will say, is this true? If it is, do this. Once it's done that, it's going to come back here and say, is that still true? Yes, do this.
So it keeps doing this, right?
Until this condition evaluates to false.
Correct.
So the number one rule of while loops is to make sure that this will eventually turn to false. So you'd say var a equals 0, and then while a is less than, whoa,
That was it. Not a confident less than.
10, then a plus equals,
Yeah, okay, here's another thing. We should say a equals a plus 1 for now.
yeah, just trust us on this.
Which is synonymous to this, but there's gotchas there too, so.
That's the thing, which is synonymous to a plus equals 1. For now, forget about this stuff.
Go look it up.
A plus plus, I like it. And
It's useful.
And
You just need to know where
sister
it's...
plus plus A.
You-
Okay, never
you-
mind. We're not going to talk about that.
Another argument for another day.
As you can tell, Jared and I don't always agree on everything.
And it's good because
And
it creates really wonderful,
Yeah.
bright, colorful
We learn
conversations.
so much more that way. So this is going to go through 10 times. Because the first time through, now A is equal to 1. Now A is equal to 2, 3,
Right.
4, 5, clear until A is no longer
So-
less than 10.
Do this, yeah. Then you'll see it go through that loop.
Oh, sort of.
Dot log, sorry. Correct my horrible. There we go. Now it'll work.
So put that
Thank
in
you.
your browser. Now you'll see A count. A bunch.
Exactly.
All right. Not much more to it. That's the while loop. Sometime in your life, we will have an infinite while loop, and it'll crash your program, and
Yes,
you'll wonder why.
your computer is not responsive.
Yeah, the browser will want to close the tab, say JavaScript's long running. Anyway, that will happen, I promise.
So this is also, we have another loop statement known as a for.
And I tend to use fors a lot more than I use whiles. I'm afraid of the while loop because it's so easy to get lost in an infinite while loop. It's a little more difficult, or I guess it's a little easier to not get lost in a for loop.
Just because all of the things happening, because it's, should I?
Yeah, go ahead. This
So-
is really just a shortcut for
A while loop.
a
Because
while.
remember how we said up here, we needed to initialize. So the first statement in a for expression is initialization.
Yeah, remember, look at the time code on the video right now. You're going to want to come back to this 2 or 3 times.
So the first statement, or the first expression we need to do is initialize what's going to be in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can say, we're going to do this until a is less than 10, I think is what we did before in the while loop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the middle expression. And now the next one is what you want to do that makes it iterative, I guess is what you could say. So you'd say, I want to have, here, just for you, Ben, I want to increase a 1
And then, of course, you have your
block there.
your
Your statement
statement
bundle.
there.
So
So when
not
you,
block.
when you see this documented, you'll see this is called the initializer. This is the condition.
Yep.
And they usually call this the iterator.
See, I didn't know what to call it, but that makes
Um,
sense.
But secretly, you can put any kind of expression in these places, and I've even written for loops where I've left stuff out.
Remember, this is actually a legitimate. I mean, you could leave that out, and that would still, nothing's going to scream at you. Not going to work very well.
As
But
long as you have a somewhere.
let's say you actually initialized a somewhere else, and you didn't have to down here. Then you could just say you got to put a semicolon there to say, hey, I've made my statement, which is nothing,
Yeah.
and declare that
I
one.
wonder if you could group statements with curly braces in there.
Homework.
Something to try.
So var a equals 0. Okay.
So when the JavaScript gets here, the first thing it's going to do is initialize the variable. Then it's going to evaluate the conditional. Then it's going to execute the block. Then it runs the iterator, and then it evaluates the conditional again.
So this what's neat to understand is this is only done once at the beginning. The rest of these are done every time.
Yep. Cool. So that's a for loop.
What else is there to talk
No,
about? I guess we could talk
oh,
about the switch statement, but I don't want
One
to.
thing to watch out for, this var, sometimes, at least I've been tempted, to skip the var on my initializer. And that's bad. You always want to, because remember we talked about scope. If you don't put var on there, A is going to be attached to the global scope and it'll get lost.
And somebody else will change it.
Yeah, and you'll have 2 for loops that use I, and they
some
will
that don't
override
set
each
it.
other.
And some that don't set it, and some that do.
Yeah, so just remember your var on your initializer.
Yep. I think that's.
All right.
We could do the switch, but I don't really use it, and I hate it, and
Yeah,
not useful to me.
I think that's pretty much all you need to know to really be up and running with JavaScript.
If you really want to know about the case and switch statements, go and look it up, and then shoot yourself in your foot.
There are more looping structures. There's only really one branching
Oh, we
structure.
could talk about a for end. We should probably talk about that.
Okay,
And the reason why I want to talk about this is let's do an array example.
Have we discussed arrays?
Well, we could briefly do it.
Okay. So here's the.
Well, how long have we gone? Maybe that's what we should ask. We don't want to make people fall asleep.
We may talk about arrays.
We've already gone 23 minutes, so.
Okay.
Maybe one thing to end on.
Oh, there's Blake again,
Oh, yes.
the magical guest.
And he has a face.
He's here. He's real.
I had a, so maybe you can explain this to me. So this is an if statement. Is equal to, let's say, A, or is equal to B.
Oh, ternary.
C.
Oh my word! What are you doing now?
Okay. This
Well, if I see, what if I see this in code? What does that mean? Is that an if statement?
Okay. Yes, it's a shortcut.
Have a guilty pleasure, a confession to make. I love this totally unreadable sequence.
So that's why
I love
Blake is
too.
saying it
I
because he
love
works
too.
with it, right? He sees it.
And this, you'll be starting doing JavaScript, and you'll see this in your code,
Yes.
and you'll just look at it like, what is this?
So
Is this some
let's-
regular expression? Like, what is this?
Let's
And-
break it down real quick because this is actually really fun because this can be turned into something readable. That looks
Yeah.
familiar, doesn't it? Do you need something?
Here, like. Okay, Jared's gonna explain that, and I'm gonna expand it into what it's a shortcut for.
So this first thing is just a condition. So you're saying A is going to equal to whatever this gets reduced to. Remember how we were talking about how this is just called a ternary expression. It's going to look at this condition and say, if A is equal to B, take the first one after the question mark. So you're really saying, hey, does this equal? And if it does, take C and assign it to A. Else, take D and assign it to A. So based on this condition, you either take the first one, so this is just like an if, like you wrote, else take the second one. And it does cause a lot of...
So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines because I even compacted my else. This is one line, and I don't know, maybe it's not that readable.
When would that be useful over this? This is more readable, but is there a case where that would actually be...
On assignment, just like when you're trying to assign something based on a condition, I would use this. Because unless you have to assign more things based on that condition, if it's just one assignment, use this. If it's more than one assignment, like if you're saying, hey, if this is the condition and I have to do 4 things, don't try to do it with this. That would be nonsense. Because you could still technically do... You could probably put a block in here. I wonder if that's...
you can put a ternary inside of a ternary.
These are expressions. So anything that you could put in here, you can put in there. I don't know about blocks.
I'd like to figure that out. That'd be interesting.
But I've used, again, I shouldn't have, but I've used full-blown expressions in here and in here. My advice would be, if you have a complex expression for any one of these 3 things, use an if-else.
Yeah, it's a
Structure.
lot more readable.
Not this. If you're just dealing with simple values, a couple of variables,
Well, it's just
that'd be
assignment.
okay.
It's really just when you're... This is why it's so wonderful. It's because it's just for assignment.
I've used them not even for assignment.
I know, you've done some really goofy things.
So I've done it where I just chop off this part and say, if this is true, run this function. Otherwise, run that one, because these all get executed.
Yeah.
They get evaluated.
It's a statement.
As
It's
expressions.
it's a statement, because this actually needs to have that right
So
there.
I've done that before.
And it was actually, it was quite amazing, but awfully confusing.
I thought it was cool, but yeah. Okay.
I think that's good.
If there's any questions on that, put them in the comments.
And we might answer them.
We want questions. We will answer them. We're
Okay,
good
we will.
teachers.
We will answer them.
All right, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.